Alternative Reality, Volume 1, Chapter 1. Fire. Its bright shimmering form scurried around in haste as Whale's playful eyes followed it around, lips frozen in a crooked smile. He never considered himself a pyromaniac, but the little rabbit, fleeing for its life, desperately trying to put out its burning fur, did serve as quite the amusing sight. The show lasted for hardly a minute, but it might as well have been an hour. So consumed by the spectacle Whale was. Unsatisfied with its end, he simply gazed towards the next innocent creature he could find and slowly lifted his right hand. Soon, an anxious little fireball was conjured, fidgeting about in one place, unable to stay put for even a second. Whale, as a responsible parent, did not force his creation to suffer long and threw it at a nearby fox that tried to escape this crazed individual. Fueled by its insatiable hunger, the fireball quickly caught up with the little creature and engulfed it in flames, inflicting terrible damage with its searing touch. This time, though, Whale did not stand mesmerized by the light show. Instead, he slowly walked towards the spot where his previous victim died, only ashes and scorched ground remaining where once a living creature stood. Amongst the ash and bone, a few copper coins were visible. The torturer picked them up with a deft hand and calmly took in his immediate vicinity, eyeing for the next victim. Already one could notice a few scorch marks here and there, signs of his persistence, which was probably the reason his surroundings seemed almost abandoned, with not a single soul in sight, besides a few little creatures. And with somebody as crazy as him around, who'd be surprised? Well, an unpleasant existence, be it in action or appearance. He wasn't particularly tall, nor was he short. Unwashed and unmanaged hair covered most of his scalp, with a few barely visible marks of inevitably encroaching baldness. A spare fuzz covered his jaw, dark bags under his eyes. From first glance, his bodily structure wouldn't impress anyone either, but it was deviously covered up by a ragged gray robe that was in a desperate state of disrepair. No wonder he was alone in an empty field. Who'd want to spend their time with a guy who enjoys torturing cute little creatures while looking like that? No one, that's who. Thus here he was, alone, with fire at his disposal and wildlife conveniently scurrying around him. Who could blame his choice in fun? Quite a few, but who cares what they think anyway? At some point, another self-proclaimed adventurer found his way into the same open field. But after witnessing Whale at work, it took him just a moment before he decided to apply his sense of justice to the matter. With an oversized two-handed sword, he continuously finished off any wildlife afflicted by a sudden fire in their fur, picking up the copper coins from right under Whale's nose with a sanctimonious glare. That didn't last long. A few fireballs, screams, and evil chuckles later, Whale was left by himself once more. A solitary man indeed. He picked up anything left behind by the so-called do-gooder and sat down on a nearby rock. A pale hand reached into a bag bulging with goodies that hung from his waist and took out a stale loaf of bread. Not a very appetizing sight, but he didn't seem to mind and quickly chowed down while observing his day's work. An empty field, scorched and barren, flakes of ash dancing in the wind, while the smiling sun shared its fading rays before disappearing over the horizon. Romantic seemed like an apt way to label the scene. Whale felt a sense of accomplishment. Truly, a splendid day's work. But as they say, work never waits. And his afternoon snack was interrupted by an angry snarl from the rear. As he quickly turned to inspect the sudden disturbance, the first thing his eyes caught on were naked fangs, sharp and dripping with saliva. Their owner was a skinny-looking wolf, covered in black fur, who glared hungrily at Whale, intentions clear as day. It found its prey, and the wolf crouched, ready to pounce at any moment. Some would spend their time doubting, thinking of what to do. Some would feel threatened, run away even. Some would just stay frozen. Not Whale, though. Oh no. He reacted with cold-blooded instincts, discarding the loaf of bread without a single thought. Well, maybe a single one. His mother did teach him not to waste food, but sometimes one needed to make sacrifices. Whale quickly lifted his left arm in defense and conjured up a fireball with his right one, ready for the attack that would inevitably come. And come it did. With jaws open wide for a quick bite, the wolf leapt at dinner without a single second wasted, and bit into Whale's offered limb. Sadly, the puppy didn't have time to savor the taste, as a sudden burning sensation encroached on its belly. With a whimpering whine, it quickly disengaged and fell to the ground, squirming on the sand, attempting to put out the fire as best as it could manage. Eventually succeeding, it quickly leapt to the side, and not a moment too soon as another fireball hit the ground seconds after its departure. Whale grinned, revealing a set of crooked teeth. This was fun. He was enjoying himself, dancing in the scorched field with this cute little puppy dog, left hand bleeding, a sweet sensation of pain. This was what he called living, especially when he was winning. With the initiative on his side, Whale sent multiple fireballs one after the other at the poor creature, most of them missing. A few, though, did indeed hit, the target's fur already smoldering. Another fireball, another dodging jump, a slip, and now the wolf was right where Whale wanted it to be, cornered with rocks behind it and rocks on both sides. He readied his right hand one last time, ready to perform the finishing move. Yet to his surprise, or disappointment, no fire appeared, just an empty palm stretching out comically. Out of mana. Fuck. The smile was gone now. Whale didn't feel like he was having fun anymore either. The wolf, on the other hand, could sense the tables turning, and even with fires burning on its back, chased Whale around for the rest of the evening, until the last of its health burned away, leaving naught but ashes behind. Exhausted, Whale sat down and released a heavy sigh. Barely, he managed to survive the sudden turn of events. Relief slowly washed over his tired body. Money earned, experience gained, and alive. All in all, the day ended up in quite a pleasant way, is what he thought until a loud noise interrupted his thought process again. "Stop right there, criminal scum!" Wide-eyed, Whale could only watch as a heavily armored guard charged at him with sword held high, ready to bring down justice. Seems like he ended up too close to a path patrolled by the local law enforcement. Shouldn't have burned that guy, Whale grumbled under his breath. "You have died,"